For this recording, I want to look at how we can make a bottle spout using Onshape on an iPad. Okay, the method is slightly different to doing it on a PC, but hopefully it will work for us. It's going to be using projected curves, the fill tool, shelling, lofting, and hopefully a split as well, which sounds really exciting. So let's get started. So I'm basing the image on a bottle spout like this that you would see on a soap dispenser. Okay, so without further ado, let's start a new part studio for this. Okay, so I'm going to be first of all drawing on the top work plane, so I'll select that and top on my selection here, swing that around so I have that ready, and then start a sketch on that work plane. I'm going to start off with a center point circle, which I'm going to start from the origin, so move my cross to the origin there and drag the circle out about 25 millimeters. Now, unlike the PC, you don't get the dimensions straight away, so you do need to dimension it first. So we can see this is on 41, we'll just change this to 25, and there we have it there, and we can zoom in. Okay, next thing, I need to get the spline tool. Okay, now this is tricky. You need to start it from the edge of the circle. So I'm going to move my plus sign, so I'm actually on the edge of the circle, so it's tangent, and then move to where I want the next point to be, and then keep clicking until I get to the points there. Okay, you can go back and edit these, remember, but that's fine. And then when you finish, just deselect the spline tool there. Okay, if you want to edit this, I would advise that you lock the screen first. Okay, I would probably hide a work plane because they tend to sort of interfere, so I'm just going to hide my work planes first, and then I can move my my finger onto here, hold down that until I get a cross sign there. I can move on to a point then, and then I can drag and move that point to where I want it. Okay, so hold down your finger, get the cross, get that selected, and then you can move that point around on the screen there. Okay, right, let's double click to deselect that. Okay, I'm then going to put back my work planes just so I can see that again, because I need to see the center line here for the next part. I'm going to choose my line drawing tool. I'm going to move this starting from the end of that part there, and then drag that down to the edge of the front work plane that you can see there. So that's my drawing drawn out there. Let's dimension this. So I'll take my dimension tool. I'm going to start off with this end line here, that line there, that's right. And we'll make this 5 mil, so 5 mil there, that's good. And we'll also do the dimension from this point to this point here, and drag that down, and we'll make this, let's make this 50 millimeters there, perfect. Okay, right, so we've got tangent happening from the circle, we've got a line hanging out from it, and we've got a 5 mil part there. Okay, so next tool I'm going to use is the mirror tool. So find the mirror tool, mirror. I'm going to use the edge of the front plane as my mirror line, and then select the entities to mirror, which is going to be the spline that I drew first, and the end piece there as well. So now it's a complete shape because it's gone all grey there for me. Okay, now the reason why the mirror tool is really handy to use is that you can then pick up any point that you want on this, and you can move this around and it will mirror across for it, so we can keep everything symmetrical on our shape here, which is quite cool. And we're trying to sort of do the design of this, which is good. Okay, so I'm happy with that sketch. Oh, one thing I will do first, I'm going to go to my tool here as well, and I'm going to take the point tool, okay, there, and I'm going to put a point on the end of that circle there, the edge of the circle, and also on this edge here. This will enable me to see this when it's when I'm looking at it from the front plane, those 2 points there, so I know the extremities of my drawing there. Okay, and I'm also, whilst I'm there as well, going to take my trim tool and just trim the edge of that circle because I don't need that part now for my shape. Okay, that'll do nicely. Right, let's tick the sketch so we can see I have my shape nicely drawn out there. Okay, I'm going to switch back on the edge of my top plane there so I can see it. And then I'm going to do a new sketch. This time this is going to be on the front work plane. Okay, so front work plane there. Okay, just double check that. Yes, it is on the front work plane. And we'll swing this so we are looking at the front plane there. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so what we're going to be doing this time is drawing the spline this is going to be based on. So I'm going to hide on my view, I'm going to hide my front plane so that it doesn't interfere with it, but I still want to see the edge of my top plane because this is going to be used as a reference for this. So choose my spline tool, and this is to draw the profile at the top of the spout, if you like. So this is going to be a circular part, and then there'll be the edge of it. So I'm going to start by just taking this up here. Now I'm going to start from here, but I'm going to drag up, and so I can actually get the edge of that there, and then start to actually plot the edge of my curve that I want to go upwards. Okay. Now when I get to the end of this, I'm going to take this so it actually hovers over that edge there, but then I'm going to drag it up so I end up with the edge of it here. Now bearing in mind that I can move each of these points later on as well. Okay, so I know that they are horizontal, sorry, not horizontal, vertical with the edge of my shape there. Okay, I could draw a construction line to help this as well, but this will work for the minute. Okay, right. So I'm happy with that, with the position of that spline, but I'm going to change some of the points of it. So I've deselected the spline tool. I'm going to lock the screen. I'm going to move my hold my finger on here until I get the crosshairs. Pick up this point here, for example, and then just drag that up to actually move that to a better position for me. Maybe starting to curve up. Yeah. Double tap to deselect it. Hold the finger down until I get the crosshairs. Pick up this point here, and then just gonna, should be able to then move this point. Yeah, there we are. There you go. Just want to move that up. There we go. Okay. Right. So again, it's a little bit fiddlier on an iPad, but it does work. Right. I'm happy with that. I'm going to green tick that. Okay. Next spline I'm going to draw is going to be another sketch. So again, pick your sketch tool, select the surface that you want to be on. So this is going to be the front work plane there. Okay. I'm going to pick my spline tool again. Yeah. Close that off. And this time, this sketch is going to come through the shape here. So again, we're going to start with this slight from there. Don't want to drag this down. So make sure you've got the orange dashed line there, and then start to actually plot the shape of this coming through. So maybe that comes through something like that. Now, this line here is slightly odd here, so I'm going to move this back in a second. So let's just take off the spline tool, because I overshot there slightly. Hold down on that, pick up the end of this. I'm just going to drag this down so then it's in line there. That's better. That's in line with the shape underneath it. Double tap to deselect. Pick up this tool here, this point here, and just move that. It is more difficult to do this. Yeah, okay, I'll leave it at that for the minute, I think. Okay, right, so we've got our two splines drawn, and we have our profile drawn there as well. So green tick that. Okay, so now we should have two splines and a shape, an outline that we're going to be basing this on. So the next thing we need to do is to create our profile. So we're just going to hide the top plane for the moment, so that's out of the way. That's fine. I'm going to select my one of the tools on here. I'm going to pick the projected curve. Now, you have to pick two entities, one in one sketch, one in the other. So for the first sketch, I'm going to pick one of the splines, okay? Make sure I pick up that, okay? Then on the second sketch here, make sure you select it so you make it blue. I'm going to select the perimeter of the other shape. Now you may want to zoom in so you really do pick up these parts, but you have to pick up all of them as you go around. And you can see here that has created the profile of my projected curve there, which is fine, okay? Green tick that, that's one of them. Now that does automatically hide sketch one, so we need to switch that back again because we're going to use that for the second projected curve. So pick your projected curve tool again. The first entity, I'm going to pick up the spline, the second spline that I've got there. For the second entity, just scroll this up so we can see it. There we go. Make sure you select that. And then again, select the perimeter of our shape. And make sure you select them all as you go around. There we are. Okay, great. And then tick that. So I should now have two outline shapes of my projected curve and an inner shape here. I can hide sketch one because I don't need that anymore. Right, so I've got two projected curves, which, yeah, that gives me some interesting shapes there to work with. Okay, so I'm going to now pick my fill tool. I'm going to select one of the projected curves. So that's filled. Okay, green tick that. And then fill tool again and select the other projected curve. So that's filled. There we have. Interesting two shapes there. Okay. Now, to make this into a solid, what we're going to use is the lofting tool. So click on the tool there, pick the lofting tool, pick the first shape and then the second shape, and that should loft between the two shapes there. Okay. So that's created a 3D lofted shape. Okay. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to green tick that. Now you can see here it's got this like zebra print happening on the top. That's because the surface is breaking through the the solid is breaking through the top surface there, and we don't need those surfaces, so we can hide those. So on the left hand side in the parts panel here, you'll see that there are parts and then surfaces. We can hide those surfaces now because we don't need those, leaving just part one showing. Okay, cool. Right, so next bit, we need to hollow out our shape. So I'm going to go to my tools again, I'm going to pick the shell tool, pick the front end here of the spout there, and you can see it's created a little letterbox there. Let's make that a bit better. So what we're going to do is to change the shell thickness to 0.5 mil, okay, there, and now we have a nice shell of our shape going through there. I'm happy with that. All right, green tick that. Okay, and let's actually round off some edges as well. So we'll take the fillet tool, okay, and we'll just fillet around here. Now by default this will be 5 mil. You will probably want to take this down to 1 mil. Okay, so take that down to 1 mil and then select the edges that you want to round off. So I'm going to take the top edge here. Yeah, take that. There you go. That's right. We'll take the top edge of this one here. We'll take the edge of this shape. We'll take the edge of that shape. Okay. I might need to rotate this around to actually be able to pick it up. Yes, there we are. Okay, that's worked. Yeah, I'll do the underside as well. So we may have to just rotate this around, pick the underside. Yeah, there you go. That's right. And that edge there, and we'll pick up that edge there. On the iPad, you do need to sort of just rotate things around sometimes to pick up the edges there. Okay, so that should be nicely rounded off there. Okay, let's tick that and have a look at it. Yeah, that's beginning to look quite spouty for me. Okay, now you can see there is a black line going around it. That's the profile of the curve that was used, and if you want to lose that, you just slide up here and go to curves, and then you can hide the curves as well, so that hides out the way. Okay, now if we go back to our image though, we can see the image has a bit of an angle happening on the spout. So let's see if we can actually put that in place. So what we're going to do is go back to our front plane. So I'm going to make sure that front plane is visible and swing to our front plane. Okay, right, there we are. So what we're going to do, we're going to draw a line going across the spout to try and angle it. So I'm going to take a new sketch that's going to be on the front plane. Okay, I'm going to take my line drawing tool. I'm going to start this about there and take that through like so. Okay, so I've got a line going through it. Okay, I'm happy with the angle on that. That's fine. I'm going to tick that off. In fact, actually, I'll go back into that sketch, because what we'll do, we will go to our extrusion tool, which is live. There we are, there. And that shape is going to be the one that we're going to be selecting, but we're going to select it as a surface. So make sure you click surface and select the line. Now, by default, it will start from that line and go out in one direction, but we can scroll up here and say, instead of blind, we're going to go symmetrical. There we go. And that is now sliced all the way through our shape. So it's like putting a knife through the shape there. Okay, so green tick that. Now, we can then use another tool, which is called the split tool. So go to your tools here, find split part there. It asks you what entity you want to split. Well, we want to split the part one, so we can select that, okay? Then it says which entity to split with. So click on that, click on the surface that we've just created there. Okay, so we've got those two parts. So we've used a part and we've used a surface to split them. And you'll notice that in the menu at the side here, it now says there are two parts, part one and part two. So we've taken the original part and created two new parts. Okay, green tick that. So now you should see that there is a line on this that is our split line. Okay, so I'm going to hide part 2. There we are. So we hide that, and now we have an angle to our spout created. Okay, and that works out quite nicely as our shape. Okay, cool. Right, let's see what you can create with that.